Hello class, for today, for reading, we're going to be reading a story. But with the story, we're going to be talking more about setting and characters. So, first of all, I want you to know, where is your favorite trip you've ever been on? For me, I love going to the beach. But where is your favorite vacation? Or where have you went this past summer? What's your favorite thing to do in the summer with your family? Those sound like great ideas. I love going to the beach and I've always wanted to go to the mountains. We're going to be reading a story today about Grace, and Grace is going on a trip. Okay, so we're going to be reading a couple pages out of the story so we can figure out where she's going and who she's with. So can someone raise their hand and remind me? We started learning about setting and characters yesterday, but can someone remind me about what the setting is in a story? What is the setting? Yes, it's where the story takes place. Now remember, I told you the setting in the story can change. So maybe in the beginning, they start at home, but then in the middle of the day, they're at school learning. At the end of the day, where do you think the setting would be taking place? At home. Good job. Okay, what are characters? What are characters in a story? Can someone tell me? Yes, they're the people, or sometimes animals or objects. Anything makes it the character, okay? The main character could be an animal, just depends on what story it is. So we're going to be reading the story called Boundless Grace, and it's one of my favorite stories of all time. We're just going to be reading a couple pages because it is kind of long, but first we need to know the author is Mary Hoffman and the illustrator is Caroline Finch. Can someone raise their hand and tell me what the author does in a story? Yes, the author writes the story, okay? It writes the words. Good job. What does the illustrator do? I want you to turn it to your partner and talk. What does the illustrator do in a story? Okay, now raise your hand. Can someone tell me what the illustrator does? Good job. The illustrator draws the picture. So Caroline Finch drew the front cover. She drew the back cover. Good job. So this story is Boundless Grace. By looking at the front cover and the back cover, what do we think this story might be about? I said she goes on a trip, but maybe where does she go on a trip to? What is that animal there? An alligator. Where could she maybe find an alligator? Maybe Florida? Okay, let's read. So I picked a page that helps us with setting and characters. Okay, but for this, I want you to close your eyes. Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and while I'm reading, I want you to think, where could Grace be going to? And where could she be? Who is she traveling with? So let's see. While I'm reading, I want you to be super quiet and listening with your eyes closed, and I want you to raise your hand after I'm done. And let's see if anyone can tell me where she's going. Are you ready? Okay, close those eyes. Okay. Grace and Nana left for Africa on a very cold gray day. They arrived in the Gambia in golden sunshine like the hottest summer back home. It had been a long, long trip. Grace barely noticed the strange sights and sounds that greeted her. She was thinking of Papa. I wonder if Papa will still love me, thought Grace. He has other children now, and in stories it's always the youngest that is the favorite. She held on tightly to Nana. Outside the airport was a man who looked a little like Papa's photo. He swung Grace up in his arms and held her close. Grace buried her nose in his shirt and thought, I do remember. In the car, she started to notice how different everything seemed. There were sheep wandering along the roadside and people selling watermelons under the trees. Okay, I want you to open your eyes and I want you to raise your hand first. Where is this story taking place? Remember, it's called the setting, where the story takes place. Does anyone remember? Yes. Africa. Africa. Good job. Okay, so they're in Africa, but where are they in Africa? Where? Where are they? The airport. Remember, she's traveling, so they're at the airport and they just got to Africa. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you this picture and I want you to look. Here it looks like they're walking into the airport or walking out of the airport. This looks like the road. Maybe that's where the watermelon are that they said people are selling underneath those trees. Good job. I love how you guys were listening so carefully. Okay, I have a tricky question, but I think you're so smart that you can get it. Can someone tell me a couple of the characters? There's a few. We know one. Who's talking? Grace. Good job, Grace. But who else? Who is Grace with? Who is she with? She's not with Papa. Who is she with? Nana. Good job. But who is she thinking of? Papa. Why is she thinking of Papa? Good, because she misses him and the people she sees reminds her of him. Very, very good. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit more practice with setting and characters. I have a couple more small books we're gonna read tomorrow, but for today, we're just gonna get that worksheet and we're gonna fill out the setting and characters of this story. Does that sound good? Do we think we can do it? You guys are so smart. Good job. Okay, I want you to walk super, super quietly to your desk and get out your journals. Good job.